All right, back to install cabinets. And this corner cabinet, is a little bit more difficult because you got to get it level and plumb from both directions. And it wasn't the lightest thing in the world, but it wasn't too heavy. And just get it here in place, and then kind of a lot of maneuvering and shims to get it level in both directions. So it's pretty good on this side. I need to get it closer to the wall over here. It's not plumb, nor is it against the wall, so need to move it a little bit. So you can kind of see the wood shims right at the bottom on both sides, right up against the wall, where I use those to get it plumb and level in both directions. And then it's just a matter of using cabinet screws to go through the half-inch back of the cabinet and into the window. So having initially gotten that corner cabinet plumb and square in that corner, it's a lot easier to get these additional cabinets. So there's one already attached to the corner cabinet, and then this 24-inch cabinet here going next to the window, and getting that lined up here so that the bottoms are even, and you close up this gap, and then they can be attached to the wall. Okay, so here's the 4 cabinets in the corner, and installation's going pretty good. Just one more cabinet to put up over on this side of the window, and then it would be onto the base cabinets. Bring you back in a bit. Okay, so here I am about to install the last of the bases, and what was really nice about this 12-foot span here of bases, there's only about a 1/16 of an inch difference in the floor height, which I checked with my laser and tape measure. So we're level, and we're going to be straight across these fronts. I still have to drill all of the hot and cold and hot for the dishwasher and the under cabinet lights and the dishwasher and disposal power and the drain into the sink base cabinet, and that's what you're attached to on my camera holder. So once I need to go to Lowe's and get a drill set, a hole cutting set, so that I can cut those holes. I just want to do it once and get them all in the right spot. But I'm happy the way this is coming out here with these cabinets. So just got to screw them together and screw them to the wall, and then we're good. Okay, so here I'm getting set up to do this refrigerator section where there's two end panels and then the cabinet that's on top of the refrigerator. And I'm going with a counter depth fridge so that it fits better in this space. So I had to cut these down from 30 inches down to 24, and I had to glue on this piece right here along the edge. And I use construction adhesive for that. So now what I'm doing is I'm screwing in these blocks. I just cut these blocks the 1 inch width. So it's 1 inch up here at the top. So I cut 1 inch blocks, and then I'll screw these in, probably 2 screws from this side, 2 or 3 from the other side. And I do that on this portion and then also on the top portion back there. Although this side is going to be visible, the first 12 inches here will be visible, so I have to put the screws in just the back 12 inches. So I'm just using drywall screws here, and they go through the 1/2 inch cabinet sides and into this board. They go about 1/8 of an inch into the other side, but I just screw a few screws here, and I'm going to screw from the other side of the cabinet to lock these refrigerator end panels in. You know, there's quite a bit of force when you're standing this up, and I didn't want this to splay open or anything because they're fairly expensive and you only want to do this once. Okay, so you can see a screw there and a screw there. So those are the GRK screws that go through the face frame. So there's 4, 2 there and 2 here for this front portion of it. The back portion has 3 screws there, 2 screws on the other side, and again 3 screws, 2 screws in just the back 12 inches because the front of this cabinet will be visible back here in this corner. The back half is covered up by that cabinet right there, and then the front half will be visible, so I don't want to put screws in there. So there's at least 12 screws in this thing, and so it should be strong enough for me to lift up vertically. And I think I measured up to this tray ceiling here, and it's just 8 feet, so I'm hoping I'll be able to slide it back in there. I don't know 100% if it's going to work. I have to shave like 1/16 of an inch off the bottom of these 2 boards, which would not be fun. We'll see. Well, I was wondering if I was going to need to get my neighbor to help me stand it up, and the answer is nope. I didn't need him, but I do need to rotate it 180 degrees and then check for height. I can check for height with my level at this point. Put the level across the top and see if it's going to clear the ceiling there, or if I'm going to have to tip it back down. We'll see. Well, I put my my level across the top here. And what we see here is that it will not clear. It looks like I need to take about 1/4 inch off in order to make sure that this cabinet gets underneath. I need to check the other side. I haven't put the level over there. Let me do that right now. Okay, I got the level, the other level up there, and that side actually looks a little bit worse. That looks to me close to a 1/2 inch. And let's see here, if I can get it to focus. That's a 1/4 inch there, and that's either 3/8 or a 1/2. So looks like I'm going to lower this cabinet by 3/8. So I need to tilt it back down, and I probably will get my neighbor for that. So I maneuvered it into place, and let's see exactly how much we have to take off here. So that's a good 1/4 inch. And as you can tell from this cabinet over here, this ceiling slopes a little bit. Now there is a molding that will cover this top, and there's some decorative panels that go on this side. So it's not the end of the world if there's a little bit of a gap along the top here. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably take 3/8 off the bottom of this cabinet. Okay, alrighty, I got the sink base in, and it's 6 holes in the back, cut fairly well. I had to cut the drain another circle slightly off from the first one, but they're all in. I need another split ring for this upper water supply. So the bottom one is the dishwasher, and then you've got the hot and cold for the sink. So now, as I keep saying, I need to screw these cabinets together. So got all my clamps ready to go, got the lines fairly closed and the face frames in the same plane. Got my level up here, and seems to be fairly level. So I am gonna go ahead and screw these together and screw them to the wall. As I've said before, it's critical to pre-drill these face frames, which are made of a hardwood, probably maple, and the screw we're using is fairly thick, and if you don't pre-drill it most of the way, then it will split the face frames. And I've had that happen a couple times when I didn't do it. The other thing I do is you definitely want to drill through the first face frame, because you don't want the threads really gripping the first face frame, and then when the screw goes into the second face frame, it should work. Okay, so I've got these cabinets screwed together. So the one thing on these Lazy Susan cabinets here is this rail becomes really small, and the upper portion of it is not even as big as the other thing. So if I use my regular cabinet screws, These are not going to work here, as you can see. Those would go through, and even here they just barely don't come through, so that's good. In fact, I used one of these up here, and but down here in this narrow section I used some 1 5/8" dry roll screws. I didn't want to go too deep, and this smaller rail is really subject to cracking. If you really crank down on the screws, the head will split this face frame right apart. So anyway, I pre-drilled and then countersunk the head a little bit so that it would stop and not split the frame. Now we're moving back to the other area by the family room where we have the pantry cabinet and these three drawer cabinets. And this is deja vu all over again, where I should have put these drawer slides in earlier, before I built the cabinet. That would have been the right time to do it, because doing it after the fact, as you're going to see here, is a little bit challenging. But that's what makes building fun. All right, getting set up here to put the hinges on the 4 doors that go for the pantry cabinet. So just a little towel to make sure you don't scratch the front of the cabinet. Got the drill, and need to grab the hinges. There they are. There's 3 hinges per door, so a total of 12 hinges. And here we go. Let's speed it up a little bit. One of the nice things about these RTA cabinets, putting them together, at least for the doors, is they've pre-drilled for these hinges on the doors and on the face frames. So it's just a matter of starting the screws in the holes and finishing them off here with this drill. Okay, got the cabinet doors installed. I still need to adjust the gaps so that the gaps are equal, both vertically and horizontally here. And all of these drawer fronts right here can be adjusted. They're just loose screwed on. Once you get the gaps set, then you can tighten the screws behind. So this is ready for countertops. One thing I need to do, I think I've mentioned before, is I need to move this outlet. I'm going to move it that way a few inches. Okay, and here we're moving on to the cabinet doors for these lowers. So this should be the last of the cabinetry, and then moving on to other things. This is the Lazy Susan door in the corner. So it's got 4 hinges, 2 that attach to the cabinet, and then the other hinge allows it to sit in the corner and to bend a little bit as you open it. And initially, I didn't have it fully adjusted there, right at the bent portion, so that it would fit correctly. And here I'm fastening the Lazy Susan trays down to the bottom of the cabinet. And when I did the other one, I used a different attachment on my drill, and so I had to tape the screws onto the bit attachment. This one here is magnetic, so the screw will stay attached fairly well onto the end of the bit while I adjust that little hole there and get to the screws go and attach this Lazy Susan tray to the cabinet. And then you just put the little cover on that hole and that's it. It's not too bad. And I say it's not too bad, and then all of a sudden this one doesn't go in quite straight, and I have to try and pull it out and put it back in again. But that's, again, the joys of building. To the tray underneath. So I just put on this Lazy Susan cabinet door, and of course with the full depth fridge it doesn't work. I might have to wait until I get the cabinet depth fridge to see if it'll work. Otherwise I'll have to switch the hinge side over from here over to here, and we'll see after I get delivery of the refrigerator, which is in a couple weeks. Okay, I just wanted to show I adjusted this Lazy Susan door here so that it would fold more in the middle. And so it will clear even with this more than counter depth refrigerator. So it was just a matter of lengthening this screw. There's pretty much adjustment in there, so that allowed it to swing more. But once I get my counter depth fridge, it'll be fine. And just working on getting drywall repaired, and I put a little bit more molding, kind of like back over there in the entryway. I'm going to try and unify the house a little bit. I am putting in different colors. It'll be white on the bottom, and then a gray, light gray, very light gray, blue gray, light gray, whatever, on the top. And that's going to be for these tray ceilings as well. Going to go away from these tans. And then, so this whole kitchen family room area is going to be light gray and with some trim. So that'll all be on next video coming up in the future. Next thing, we have appliances coming next week. And then once the appliances are in, then they can measure for the countertops, because they said that they had to have the range in place and they had to have the sink and the faucet on site. So I have a new sink, which is in the living room. And with that stuff, we can move forward with this project. See you next time.